Good morning. This is Northern Light for Tuesday, May 2nd. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Todd Moe.
Less than a decade after SUNY Potsdam made a major investment in its performing arts, the university is now planning to shrink its theater and dance department by about half by the end of the next school year.
I know that there are several faculty members currently on tenure track who are not having their contracts renewed following next year. And several staff members as well, people who are teaching as adjuncts.
Lucy Grindon has more coming up.
Also, we'll have the latest on budget negotiations in Albany. And Clinton County is one of 15 counties that will be part of this year's snapshot of health and nutrition in the United States.
So it helps to inform legislation and programming to best serve the needs of the country itself.
More details on the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey just ahead.
And we'll listen back to our conversation with Plattsburgh's improv troupe, Completely Stranded. They've got a show this weekend. All that's coming up on Northern Light. Stick with us.
Broadcast of Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio, supported by Adirondack Foundation and the Adirondack Birth to Three Alliance, dedicated to providing all children the best possible start in life, AdirondackBT3.org, and by St. Lawrence Health, whose affiliation with Rochester Regional Health means more patient access to specialty care. StLawrenceHealthSystem.org.
This is Northern Light. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Todd Moe. SUNY Potsdam is planning to shrink its theater and dance department by about half by the end of the next school year. The decision comes less than a decade after the university spent $55 million on a new performing arts center with 2 theaters. Lucy Grindon was at SUNY Potsdam yesterday morning when the SUNY system chancellor was on campus for a visit and has our story.
Don Borsch taught dance at SUNY Potsdam for 28 years before he retired in 2020. Borsch told NCPR he's heard from current employees that 5 out of the department's 9 full-time positions will not be renewed beyond spring 2024.
I know that there are several faculty members currently on tenure track who are not having their contracts renewed following next year. And several staff members as well, people who are teaching as adjuncts, and people who are critical to the operations of the Performing Arts Center.
NCPR has spoken with some of them, but is not using their names because they are still employed by the university. SUNY Potsdam's new president, Suzanne Smith, declined to comment on any specifics.
That's a personnel matter that I'm not able to discuss publicly.
SUNY System Chancellor John King was on the SUNY Potsdam campus yesterday morning for a visit. He also declined to comment on the specifics of what's going on with the theater and dance department, but he pointed to enrollment numbers as a major factor generally in decisions like these.
Campuses are continuously evaluating all of their programmatic offerings in light of student enrollment and making adjustments to staffing accordingly.
Don Borsch said the theater and dance department's enrollment numbers did drop significantly because of the COVID-19 pandemic. He saw the beginning of that just before he retired.
In my last semester, I taught dance technique and dance composition online for 7 weeks, which really is a completely untenable way to try and teach dance courses. It doesn't work. The numbers of the theater and dance department really suffered as a result.
Borsch says the department's enrollment has not been given enough of a chance to bounce back from COVID.
My basic concern is that there has not been adequate time given with the current faculty and staffing to come back from that really serious setback.
The planned downsizing comes after the university spent $55 million on a new performing arts center that opened in 2014. When asked about the financial investment in the performing arts facility, President Smith said it gets plenty of use.
There are lots of programs that use that facility, and it is a stunning facility. It's used by campus, by community members, and it will continue to get great use.
But Borsch says to use a facility like that to its full potential, the department needs people to teach skills like lighting design, costume design, set design, sound engineering, and arts management. Without enough employees, he says he's afraid the department won't be able to function well and may eventually disappear altogether. Borsch said the department is a haven on campus, especially for students who are part of the LGBTQ plus community and for students of color.
We have welcomed and supported and been basically a safe place for a number of students from those areas for many, many years.
The university reported a $3 million budget deficit last year. President Smith says they're still working on a financial stability plan and are not ready to release details. Lucy Grindon, North Country Public Radio, Potsdam.
The National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey is coming to the North Country later this month. Clinton County is one of 15 counties who will be part of this year's snapshot of health and nutrition in the United States. Molly Flynn with the Clinton County Health Department says the county's selection was completely random. She says every county in the country is put into one of 15 groups based on things like demographics and size.
Whatever category Clinton County falls in, there's lots of other counties that are comparable. So Clinton County happens to be the sample county in that type of county that got picked for this year.
Flynn told Champlain Valley reporter Kara Chapman that data collected by the National Health Survey is used in day-to-day public health work and influences policy.
In the 70s, so they've been doing the survey obviously for quite some time, but in the 70s, their results came back showing really high levels of lead in most of their participants. So through learning that, putting legislation in place, and banning the addition of lead in gasoline and water, right, taking the lead out of, we've got unleaded gasoline, we've got lead no longer in our drinking water, those numbers have drastically declined, and now we don't see that many people that have those high levels of lead. So it helps to inform legislation and programming to best serve the needs of the country itself.
What can people kind of expect as far as, how they're going to be asked to participate and then what they have to do when they're participating in the survey?
So the survey starts out on much more of a broad scale, and it starts out actually with mailings. So you may get a letter or a postcard or both. There's links to complete the survey online. So it's a general survey of the kinds of people that live in your home. So they're going to start by kind of looking for some of those more densely populated areas within the county. If your house is in one of those areas and they haven't heard back on the initial survey from you, when the staff actually arrive in Clinton County in May, they'll actually come to your home to make sure that they get the information that they need. Then there would be subsequent phone interviews. And then after the phone interviews, anyone that's actually selected to participate fully in the survey gets asked to come down to their mobile examination center. And that's actually 4 large tractor trailers that connect together and kind of create like this doctor's office on wheels, where they have all of the equipment to do any of the testing that they want to do on the participants.
Can you talk a bit more about what those tests might look like?
So you're going to get your definitely your typical kind of blood work and urine analysis things to look at different compositions of your body. There's body composition testing, so they'll actually scan and look at the makeup of your body. Depending on your age, they would do some balance testing on you in the facility. And again, depending on your age and some of your other risk factors, they may do liver scans to see how your liver is functioning. And then there's a lot of general, more specific questionnaire questions that they'll sit down and go through with each participant. And then, of course, height, weight, that kind of stuff. They will get all of their results back. So not only are you taking steps to help your community be healthier by answering all of the questions and making sure that we have data that we can look at to inform our decisions, but you're actually taking a step towards your own health to see, how your health stacks up against those in the rest of the country.
Molly, was there anything else that you think is important for people to know about, the survey and participating or anything else like that?
The main thing to know is, just that we want you to participate in the survey, that we really do use this data regularly when we're developing our policies, when we're going after grant funds to help with different interventions and programs. We are going to get to see that snapshot of just Clinton County, which is something we've never gotten before. So that will be interesting data to look at. But they're very trusted individuals. Again, they're affiliated with the CDC. Everything is very confidential. So your name and likeness, any of that stuff is not ever going to be used to identify you. It'll just be the results, the overall results of the survey. So making sure that everybody feels comfortable to participate and that it's a really great thing. If you do get selected, please complete the process.
I've got to ask, because you said, this is data that Clinton County hasn't gotten before. So as someone in public health, is this like kind of a public health nerd moment?
Oh, yes. We are very, very public health nerding. We are I am hoping very much that I get selected because I want to see what the entire process is like, and I just want to be there. Where we're all hoping that at least somebody we know is going to get selected to participate, so we can learn a little bit more about the process. And of course, anytime the CDC comes to your county, it's like, hey, look at us.
That was Molly Flynn with the Clinton County Health Department speaking with Kara Chapman. We have more information about the National Health Survey on our website, ncpr.org.
You're listening to Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio. It's 8:11. Good morning. I'm Todd Moe.
And I'm Monica Sandreski. Just ahead, we'll catch up with Plattsburgh's improv troupe, Completely Stranded. That's ahead of their show coming up this Saturday evening at the Strand in Plattsburgh. More on that conversation in just a few minutes here on Northern Light.
This is music by Johnsburg's Tim Elifritz. You can hear more of Tim's music. He's part of the Underscore Project, and check it out anytime at ncpr.org/underscore. Is supported by Long Run Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor in Lake Placid, providing comprehensive wealth management, retirement, and financial planning solutions. LongRunWealth.com. And by Adirondack Land Trust, with 27,000 acres of forests, farmlands, waters, and wild places conserved since 1984. AdirondackLandTrust.org.
Last weekend, the city of Plattsburgh and the state attorney general's office hosted a community-wide gun buyback event. It was the largest gun buyback in the North Country, bringing in 265 firearms, including 15 assault rifles, 162 handguns, and 59 long guns. The buyback events are aimed at taking unwanted guns off the street and out of people's homes to prevent gun violence. Statewide, the Attorney General's office bought back more than 3,000 guns last weekend. New York has one of the lowest gun death rates in the country. The buyback events are aimed at taking unwanted guns off the street again.
If you want to hike from one of the most popular trailheads in the Adirondacks, you'll need to reserve a spot in advance from now until the end of October. This is the third year that reservations are required to hike from the Adirondack Mountain Reserve, a 7,000-acre private property in the High Peaks. The reservation system first launched in 2021 to manage hiker traffic and improve safety along Route 73. According to the DEC, there were more than 10,000 reservations made last year. You can reserve a spot up to 2 weeks in advance at the website hikeamr.org.
The upper locks in Saranac Lake are temporarily closed this week for routine maintenance. The upper locks are located in between Middle and Lower Saranac Lakes. The original upper locks were built in 1890. They were last removed in 1970 so that the gates could be opened and closed with compressed air. According to the DEC, the upper locks will be closed to boats from May 2nd to May 4th. If you're paddling a canoe or kayak through the area, you can carry your boat around the locks from now until Friday.
A month after the state budget was due, state senators and assembly members started to pass the first budget bills yesterday. But as Karen DeWitt reports, despite a conceptual agreement announced by Governor Hochul last week, details for many major spending items have still not been worked out.
Voting began after bills were printed to fund the state's capital projects and public protection programs, as well as the legislative and judiciary branches of government.
Announce the results.
Ayes 121, noes 28.
The bill is passed.
But as of Monday evening, not all of the bills had been printed yet. 2, education and state operations, were not yet completed, and at least one of them is expected to include major policy changes, including revisions to the bail reform laws. Other changes include a climate action plan. It includes a ban on gas hookups in new buildings and an authorization to open 22 more charter schools in New York. It's an Albany tradition to cram a diverse array of items into the final budget bill, earning it the nickname the Big Ugly. Senator Tom O'Mara, the ranking Republican on the Senate Finance Committee, says that final bill is expected to be voted on shortly after it's finished. He says that won't leave much time for lawmakers in the minority party or the public to examine what's in the legislation.
We're assuming is ultimately one of those two is going to be what we call the Big Ugly this year. So major portions of these first 4 bills that have been omitted because they're controversial are going to be included in those bills tomorrow that are yet to come, yet to be in print, yet for you to read the language, yet for us to be the language, and certainly yet for any New York State citizen to read the language.
Democrats, who lead both houses of the legislature, say the final measures could be ready to vote on as early as Tuesday. Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins cautioned, though, that the spending plan is not yet completely wrapped up.
Definitely, it's got to be the middle of the end now.
Stewart-Cousins says it was the governor's proposed bail reform changes that caused the weeks-long delay in reaching an accord. Democrats had been resistant to Hochul's proposal to make it easier for judges to set bail in cases of serious crimes by removing a clause that required that they seek the least restrictive means to ensure that a defendant returns to court. Stewart-Cousins says she agrees with clarifying the law for judges, but she says data on the 2019 law shows that bail reform is working as it was supposed to and is not the cause of the pandemic-era crime wave in New York and the nation. The Senate leader says she would have liked the budget to have been finished sooner.
I would have liked to have done this sooner. I think we would all agree to that. And as I said, this has been a very policy-laden budget, and a lot of the policies had to be parsed through. So we did.
There are some items that the legislature and governor will not be acting on. Hochul dropped a plan to build affordable housing after the issue stalemated, and it will not include her proposed ban on flavored cigarettes, including menthol cigarettes. In Albany, I'm Karen DeWitt.
You're listening to Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio. I'm Todd Moe.
And I'm Monica Sandreski. In just a minute, a conversation with Plattsburgh's improv troupe, Completely Stranded. Then stick around after the show when we return to Morning Edition. Business dealings of the Supreme Court justices will be scrutinized today by the Senate Judiciary Committee. Some legal ethics experts say the justices need a code of conduct. More from Nina Totenberg coming up at 8:35. But first, Todd has a look at the weather for for us?
Scattered showers today, tomorrow, probably again on Thursday, maybe an isolated shower on Friday, partly cloudy on Saturday, and then sunshine on Sunday and warmer temperatures as well. Highs today near 50, light winds out of the east-southeast, and pretty much the high the next couple of days, Wednesday and Thursday, highs near 50, mid-50s on Friday, mid-60s on Saturday, and mid to upper 60s on Sunday with sunshine. Right now, clouds, 45 degrees in Canton.
There's an improv troupe in Plattsburgh that's been together for more than a decade, and they're returning to the stage this Saturday night at the Strand in Plattsburgh. Merritt Billiter, Tiana Saroge, Andy Ducharme, and Jason Borey call their group Completely Stranded. So we're going to listen back to my conversation with the four of them from last spring when they shared about what they love about improv and what attendees can expect from their show.
Well, what is the line you always say, Jason? We
lovingly rip off.
Lovingly rip off. That's it. Thank you. Yeah, lovingly rip off the whose line is it anyway, which obviously you can't rip it off. It's all made up. So, but yeah, their format is what we do. That short form improv is our style that we use. So it's all, nothing's long form. It's all games, a lot of fast paced things, a lot of characters, a lot of off the wall. Oh, honestly, we just don't even know what each other's going to say. Sometimes, Jason will come in and make a face, or Andy will come in with a character that we've never even seen before, or Tiana will take it in a place that none of us expected, but surprisingly, it really works extremely well. And we're like, okay, let's just ride this out and see where it goes. That's what I look forward to the most, is just not knowing at all what any of the other three people are going to do.
What advice would you have for folks who might be interested in getting their own improv troupe going in their community?
Find people that you like, but that are different than you. We're different. We bring something different to the table. You're not going to see 4 Andys or 4 Tianas or Jasons or me. It's all different. So if you were thinking about doing one, obviously find some people that you like, because you're going to be spending some time together and you're going to be getting oddly vulnerable and just strange. You're pretty much open when you're on that stage. You're saying and doing things that you normally wouldn't do. So like each other, but find people that are different. Think about things differently. Look at the world differently. I think that's a good key to success.
Jason, are you thinking about an answer?
He's always thinking about answers.
Yes.
He's always deep in thought.
Well, I would say part of the process is learning some of the basic rules of improv. Believe it or not, as much as we're talking about how spontaneous, and we do make everything up, but there are rules that we are following. So the theater games that we play all have parameters, and we work within those parameters. We listen to each other, and we're constantly saying, whether it's actually out loud or we're saying it in our head, we don't shut people down, and we are always saying yes to each other. So we're constantly moving things along, and we allow the creative process to just occur rather than put up roadblocks or hurdles. And organized chaos.
Totally. Is it giving too much away to ask what a couple of those parameters are?
I think as they highlighted before, listening is very important and trying to grow the scene. I always try to approach a scene as well as what's the conflict going to be in the scene? We always try to have some sort of conflict which escalates the tension. Just like any good story, things are expected to go one way, but then something happens which throws everything off track. And then trying to figure out the resolution at some point, often when we have no idea what that resolution is going to be, but working off of each other to kind of reach a resolution. So you want to create that arc just like you would in any good short story. You want to have that tension that builds as well.
I don't know if this is something your mom might ask you, but what is it that you love about it? I mean, when being at it for so long, what is it that really does it for you?
I get to have just pure, silly fun, similar to that which we did when we were kids, and there was just no real reason for it when you didn't even have an audience, and you were just silly for the sake of making yourself laugh, other people laugh, each other laugh. That's what I love about it. And that's how it differs from traditional, rehearsed theater for me.
Yeah. I like the creating something out of nothing, right? And tapping into that stream of consciousness in your brain that completely relies on spontaneity and the feeling of accomplishment you get when making people laugh, because you really feel like you've accomplished something.
I'm addicted to laughter, and I'll be the first to admit that. So not only hearing laughter come out of others, and also the act of laughing. And there have been many times on stage when Tiana, Merritt, Andy all make me laugh in real time, not unlike what happened to Harvey Korman on the Carol Burnett show.
Yes.
When Tim Conway would just riff and go off script and just make all the performers just giggle and laugh. And sometimes I honestly think other members of the troupe try to do that for me because they know I'm easy to break. But I love laughing, and I love the energy that you feel from what laughter can do.
I can't help but pounce on it. When you said Tim Conway, do you have a favorite Tim Conway sketch, Jason?
The scene that comes to my mind that's one of my favorites is where Harvey Korman is in the dentist chair.
Yes.
And Tim Conway comes in as the dentist.
Let's see now, if we're going to pull her out, we'll have to have those pulley things. These pulleys and, let's see, pinchy things and the little picky things there. Pinchy, picky, pulley.
And is very green, and he's looking up stuff in the book.
Okay, I'll get my manual just a minute on that. Okay, now let's see. You want to pull your tooth out? Pull tooth. T. T-O-T-O-T-H. We are. Pull your tooth out. Boy, this is going to hurt.
And he ends up getting the Novocaine punctured throughout his body, and he can't actually function very well as the dentist.
There'll be a little bit of pain, and then numbness will set in.
And Harvey Korman is just crying. I mean, I think there's even maybe a story that he cried so hard he might have wet himself.
His pants. Yes,
Yeah.
I heard that too. Oh, it's so good. I know when he kills the fly with the back of his hand. So good. Oh, it's fantastic.
And really, what you've highlighted, and something that we're very proud of is there's a long lineage of people that take risks and take chances and say, I'm going to try this and see how it works. And that's what comedy really is all about. It's about taking chances and seeing what ends up sticking.
The improv troupe Completely Stranded is Merritt Billiter, Tiana Saroge, Andy Ducharme, and Jason Borey. Their show is Saturday night at the Strand in Plattsburgh. Show starts at 7:30. Get your tickets at strandcenter.org.
Ow. 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 Oh, fee, fee, fi, fo, fo. You're my yum, yum, yum. Your lips are so burning when you kiss me, baby. You're making me yearn. My heart, I keep singing. Oh, fee, fee, fi, fo, fum. Oh, fee, fee, fi, fo, fum. You're my number one. You're my desire. Your sweet love just for so long. But I just keep singing. Oh, fee, fee, fi, fo, fum. Baby, you're so fine and dandy. I never thought you'd be so handy. Since you came into my heart, you upset my apple cart. Oh, fee, fee, fi, fo, fum. Now I'm under your thumb. I feel so good when I walk with you through the neighborhood, and I just keep singing. Oh, fee, fee, fi, fo, fum.
Fee, fee, fi, fo, fum. That's Annie and the Hedonists, and they are coming to the North Country. They'll be at Blue Seed Studios in Saranac Lake this Saturday night. Yeah, this Saturday night, 7 o'clock, Blue Seed Studios in Saranac Lake. Annie and the Hedonists. Fee, fee, fi, fo, fum. And that'll do it for Northern Light. We're going out with Annie and the Hedonists. What's next?
What's next is Morning Edition. Then after that, stick around for the Marketplace Morning Report. Coming up between 8:51 and 9 o'clock, we'll get caught up on all the morning's business news. Keep up with NCPR throughout the day on Facebook and Twitter. Our theme music is by Danny Thomas. I'm Monica Sandreski.
I'm Todd Moe. Thanks for listening. Be well.